Oh, I tell you, YouTubers, sometimes I get a headache. Here's the Duke, and I'm Sir Salverston Richard Evans, and Vadim Shipachyov, it just keeps going crazier and crazier, and people are just going crazy over Shipachyov, just absolutely nuts. And I wish some people would just get some reality. So the Golden Knights assigned Shipachyov to the AHL affiliate Chicago Wolves. Shipachyov doesn't show up, and so the Golden Knights suspend. He'd done this once before. At that time, the Golden Knights said, okay, well, we're probably bringing you back up to the big club pretty soon, so we'll let you just hang out in Las Vegas for a few days until that happens. Shipachyov came up. First game, did make a bit of an impact. He had an assist and a goal. First game back, woohoo! And then he just basically didn't just disappear in Chicago. He disappeared on the ice in Las Vegas. We had one commentator here in one of the games. And forgive me, I forget which commentator it was. Basically said, at the end of the day, after one of the games, he said, on the box score, it says Shipachyov had played 10 minutes, and I couldn't remember Shipachyov being on the ice. He just was invisible. He said, and again, I forget. I'm sorry which one said that, but it's true. He played 2 games following that. Playing around 10, 11 minutes a game, and you just couldn't tell he was on the ice. And that's the problem, because they brought Shipachyov in as one of George McPhee's gambles. Easy gamble, His philosophy building this team was that he was going to take some risks. He wasn't always going to take the easy thing, the sure thing. He was going to go ahead and go for some risks that might have a really good payoff, and some of them were not going to pay off. Some of them would. But like I said, that's how you build a really good team, is you take some risks. And he took a risk on Shipachyov. Because, yeah, he was really, really good in the KHL, but that doesn't automatically mean that you're going to become successful in the NHL, just like we've had NHL players, when they had the big lockout situation, they had NHL players go play in the KHL during the lockout, and a couple of them did well. Some of them, I think it was Patrick Kane, went over there and he was cut within 2 weeks because they said he just couldn't do the different game over there. Yeah, it's not only because it's bigger ice, it's just the entire game, because of the larger size rinks, is completely different. It's more of a possession. You have more time once you get the puck to make a decision. It's less of an attacking game. It's more of you have to build up to your attack. In the NHL, in North America, because they're smaller rinks, you're right on top of each other. Once you get the puck, you don't have much time to make a decision or play around or whatever. You've got to go right to it. It ends up being a faster game. It ends up being more of an attacking game, because you can't just go from side to side and side and side like a constant power play. You have to go ahead and just keep attacking and attacking and attacking, because if you're just playing around with it, someone's going to strip the puck from you and be going on to the other way. You can't do that. So Shipachyov was having a problem switching over. And that's what the problem was, is he came in thinking he was going on to an expansion team. He was going to be very quickly a featured player, even if he was having some problems. There, it's an expansion team. They're not going to have a lot of talent. He'd have time to work into playing in the NHL, and he'd still be a star doing it. And the trouble is the George McPhee and the Brain Trust was bringing in people that they thought maybe weren't the first choice of a lot of people to be drafted, but they were looking at people that they thought, if given a larger set of responsibilities, might thrive in that. A perfect example, Oscar Lindberg, which they got from the Rangers. He was a small-time player on the Rangers, but they thought, if they gave him a bigger role, he'd do well. And my God, Oscar Lindberg's been a beast. He's one that a lot of people haven't been looking at. But, Tuck has been fantastic, and Neil has been fantastic. And a lot of people thought Neil was, because on the Predators, everybody thought Neil was a person that with a bigger role could play better. Tuck's been a beast, but Lindbergh's been a beast too. He's got 4 goals. He's played center. He's played wing. He's worked out on the power play and the other special teams. He's just been a beast. And Rangers are probably wishing that they had Lindbergh right now. That being said, a lot of those gambles paid off. A lot of those hopes for a lot of the players that they drafted paid off. And all of a sudden, they had players that were playing well. They bought into the system. They adapted to George Gallant's system extremely well. And all of a sudden, you've got an 8-1 team. And Shipachyov coming in, expecting, hey, I'm going to be on the ice no matter what I do. That might be unfair, but that's kind of what it seems to be. And he didn't get some playing time. I'm being paid $4.5 million. I should be playing anyway. And I'll be the first thing. This isn't just a Shipachyov thing. I think everybody here dissolves it. I think the agent for Shipachyov is an idiot. I think George McPhee and the Brain Trust with the Golden Knights probably could have done a much, much better job communicating with Shipachyov what their expectations are. And in any way, shape, or time, it's a mess. And definitely it's a risk that McPhee made that has just completely failed. And the fact that he was sent down to the Wolves again, and Shipachyov doesn't show up, and the Vegas Golden Knights have taken the action that they have, then it's over. There's not going to this. And so massive amounts of people on every level is going, oh, they're going to trade Shipachyov, they're going to trade Shipachyov, and lots of people say, oh, they should go to the Rangers, oh, they should go to the Montreal Canadiens, oh, they should go to the Cowboys, oh, the Avalanche need a center. No. Anyone who makes a trade right now, I just can't see it. For a lot of reasons. Of course, partly it's the salary cap hit. Shipachyov is a $4.5 million salary cap hit, 2 years. And half the teams can't afford it. Rangers can't afford it. Rangers probably could use another center to shake things up, but they'd have to shed a lot of money to go ahead and take Shipachyov's $4.5 million cap hit. How are they going to do it? They'd have to give up 2 or 3 people, probably, to make room for Shipachyov, just on their books. So a lot of these things can happen. But think about it this way. You're trading for an unproven talent that couldn't make it with an expansion team. An unproven talent, yeah, proven in the KHL, which is a good league, but it's a different league. Wasn't able to make it on the Golden Knights. Do you want to go ahead and take someone who wasn't able to make it with the Golden Knights? That's one. Yeah, maybe you think you can do something better that George Gallant can't do. Okay, if you want to take that risk. But this is also a guy that in the play hasn't been playing well. You know, in the preseason he was playing top line minutes, and in 4 games he got 1 point. And he had the one game, actually 1 period, that in regular season that he got an assist and he got a goal. And the rest of the time it was just basically just there. He needs time. And I think he needs to recognize he needs time to adjust to the game. I think his agent needs to realize, and the team that takes him on needs to realize that he has to take time to adjust to the game. Most of the people they're talking about they're just trading him for need help now. Now. They don't have time to give him a few weeks or a few months to go ahead and adjust to the game and then maybe be the type of player they hope him to be. They need someone to come in and have an impact on the play immediately. And Shipachyov needs time. You know, he has flashes. You know, there's no doubt he has skills to play in the NHL, but he has to adjust to the game. He needs to get out there and play, which is why the situation with Vegas seems so good. He'd have the time to play. Well, Vegas is a lot better. They don't have time for people who aren't playing well, so send him to Chicago so he would have time to get his game going and get used to the game here, but he's not willing to do that. So here's the second point. Do you want to go ahead, and if you're having issues on your team, like Rangers, like Montreal, like, oh my God, could you imagine Shipachyov in Montreal? Like the Phoenix Coyotes that are having issues with their team, underperforming, do you want to bring in a guy who is unwilling that if he's playing bad to be demoted? Is that something you want to bring into your team? It'd be one thing if he was an established player. It'd be one thing if he was proven to be successful at this level. It'd be another thing if he was considered to be a good locker room guy, which you'd have to question based on what's been going on with his agent and with George McPhee and the rest. They haven't said anything, but this is where you're at. Do you want to bring a person who's unproven, who probably needs time to go ahead and develop his game and may have issues as far as working with your coach and working with the system and working with the realities of play in the NHL? Do you want to add that to the locker room? And I don't know if that's a positive. I don't know if it's a negative, but it's a question. So how much do you trade for? There's people here in Vegas who are saying, oh, well, we ought to trade him, but we should get at least a first-round draft pick or a second-round draft pick for someone that good. He's not that good yet. Who's going to go ahead, suck up a $4.5 million cap hit for someone who is unproven? You want to give a first-round draft pick for him? No. At most, you might get a third or a fourth or maybe a fifth-round draft pick. In the end, what's probably going to happen, and I think the smart people, this is what they're saying, and I think they're absolutely true. They're going to play a few games. The agent is going to go round and round a couple more times, and in the end, they're going to do a buyout somehow, cancel the contract, and Shipachyov will go back to the KHL. 30 years old. Yeah, I think he'll go back to the KHL. He'll find a job there. He'll play well there. He'll get into the international. He'll play in the Olympics and probably do well there. But this particular situation with this particular expansion team in the NHL, it was not a good fit. And it's an unfortunate thing. Sometimes these things don't work. But for Shipachyov, he still can make a good deal of money working in the KHL. And the Vegas Golden Knights, they're still 8-1 and doing well here and developing their team, hoping to become a playoff team in a few years. It'll work out. It's going to be bloody, though. People are going to be screaming and hollering and saying stupid stuff and making me tear out what little hair I have left. But it is what it is. So it'll work out, and it'll be a memory that people will laugh about in the future. Go Knights, go.